What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Combo Show here on Stadium Drive Sports. You can tune in and catch us every Friday and the Combo Show live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Come on over and interact with us. Here on the Combo Show, we're able to talk Royals and Chiefs all in one setting. I am Kevin Britton, and I am the host of the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive, bringing you all your Chiefs content every Sunday, every Wednesday, right here on Stadium Drive Sports. Hey, Sean, let them know where they can catch you.
You can always catch me every Monday and Thursday. But look, I was going to take Thursday off because there wasn't going to be too much news, and I predicted the cancellation of more games going into this season. So I'm taking Thursdays off. I'm just going to give you every Monday, and it's going to be better episodes. Hey, don't forget, it's your chance to be a part of these episodes. Just send a comment, send some things, and we can also get you on the live episodes of the Combo Show on Tuesdays. So catch me on Mondays on the Royal Way here on Stadium Drive Sports. And don't forget, your best opportunities to be more interactive with the show is going to be on Tuesdays on the Combo Show. You can just send your comments, and we can talk about them and whatnot. Hey, that's what we want. This show is all about you guys. So
absolutely, yeah. Definitely want your guys' feedback and want to be able to interact with you, and definitely look forward to chatting it up with you guys. So we're going to start off today with a little segment that we haven't ran yet. Definitely look forward to it today. The segment is called Rant or Rave. All right, guys. So what Rant or Rave is, it's an opportunity for one of us to either go on a rant about something that we really don't like and something we need to get off our chest, or it's a rave. It's something that we really enjoy, really like what's going on, and we get to really celebrate it. So today is going to be Sean's opportunity to rant or rave. So Sean, before you start, I'm going to ask you one simple question.
Yeah.
What is it today? Is it a rant or is it a rave?
It's definitely going to have to be a rant. And I got a good.
All right.
And you could probably tell by what I'm wearing. It's the Chiefs uniform. I can't. I hate it. I hate what's going on with baseball. So my rant is against baseball. They could have made something happen today. They were so close on economic issues with everything I was just talking about. With the minimum salary, they closed that gap. With the competitive tax threshold, they closed it. They did that. And with the pre-arbitration, the main issues, they closed that. And they're within $10 million of these things, and we're talking close. But you're telling me that the reason they're holding everything back is because of an international draft. And the fact that the players are saying so hard, they don't want a 14-team expanded playoffs. They want the 12-team. And I've looked at this, and I've told you guys about this on my episode, how this 14-team season comes down to the home games for the divisional winners, right? They play these wild card teams, right? And there's only one wild card team in this 14-team playoff scenario. So they don't really like the chances that they have. Yeah, they try to throw in, you get home field advantage for those 3 games against these wild card teams, but they don't feel like that's enough advantage. And you heard Max Scherzer talk about this as well. He's the main focus on getting the player's voice out. And you kind of ask yourself, well, why Max Scherzer? Because he's the highest paid player. He gets paid $35 million a year. And it's one of the highest contracts it is the highest contract you've ever seen, even compiled into the short amount of years. So he's actually missing out on the most money out of anyone, if you kind of think about it. So he's the voice of the players. There's other players from each team that has a voice in all this. And let me sum down my rant real quick. the reason I'm so mad is because they were so close on these economic issues, and I'm impressed by the progress they made on them, okay? But this extra stuff with the international draft and the extra draft picks, and gosh, that should have been the easiest stuff to overcome. So that's why I'm mad. That's why I'm ranting. And we were so close to actually getting a 162 game season. And now we're looking at exactly kind of what I predicted, the 142 game season and just Xing out of April. Unless they can figure this out, because where we stand right now is just the first two series of the season being canceled. So you take out the first two series, you're still looking at about a 140 plus game season. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, can we at least salvage that? But as for now, guess what? I don't see a full season, and the worst part about this is, which complicates things even worse, is full pay. That full pay part is just going to complicate things even worse. So, I'm mad at baseball. I'm wearing this Chiefs stuff. For now on, let's just talk about the Chiefs for this episode, can we?
We certainly can.
That was a long rant, and I apologize, but it was a good one. I mean, I'm going to go in on my next episode on Monday and tell you how close we were on these economic issues, talking about the minimum salary, the competitive balance tax threshold, which, you talk about the CBT, the competitive balance tax threshold. That's exactly like a salary cap in MLB. They say it doesn't exist. It does. That's what that means. They're not supposed to go over that limit. The only difference is the fact that there's no floor to this. There's no floor. There's still teams with a $40 million payroll right now. And they figured out ways, well, I ain't got to spend. I'm still making money off the tickets. That's got to stop. And there needs to be a floor with this. And here, I'm going to end it with this. Okay, we can all be mad about this stuff, all this conversation and meetings that keeps going on, and these deadlines that, we're going to set a deadline here. Okay, no, we're going to set a deadline here. Okay, this is the last deadline. No, look, listen. The reason why it's so complicated is because it lasts until 2026. Whatever they come up with now will last till 2026. And yes, things will progress, and that's what they're trying to figure out is they'll have a progression, and that's where I think that they'll figure out a way to come together, is those little progressions that happen in the pay and everything like that, and the salary cap and all that. There is a baseball salary cap, but there needs to be a floor in order for it to be called a salary cap. Okay, otherwise there's going to be penalties involved, and those dollars are supposed to go to those teams to compensate for the fact that they're not paying. Come on, let's get real. They don't want to spend. They're making money, and that's got to end by creating a floor of maybe 100 million. Every single team has to spend 100 million. It's gotta happen. And if we're gonna make these changes and spend all this time, and it's going to last until 2026, let's get it right. Let's spend this time. And if it's going to sacrifice playing time on the field, fine. 1 month of playing time is good for the next 4 years. So, okay, I'm finally done. But hear about all the stats and stuff on my next episode. Let's talk Chiefs.
All right.
Cheers.
First, I got to make sure Rant or Rave works. Take a sip. Take a breath.
Yes.
Feel a little better?
Yes, I am home.
All right. So we will move on. We will talk some football, and we will do that right after this. Special announcement. We are going to be running a contest here on Stadium Drive Sports for one of our viewers to get an opportunity to come on and be a guest on the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive with myself, Kevin Britton, and we can sit down. We can talk Chiefs. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, please send an email to stadiumdrivesports@gmail.com. In the subject line, put 12th man fan, and then let us know why you want to come on the show and if you have a specific topic that you would like to discuss. Again, that email address is stadiumdrivesports@gmail.com. Get your entries in now, and we look forward to chatting with you. All right, guys, welcome back. So, Sean, you said you wanted to talk some Chiefs. What'd you have in mind?
I'm telling you what, I think that there's going to be a whole lot of Chiefs fans that's going to miss the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, okay? And not only fans of the Honey Badger, but fans of the Chiefs, to the fact that there's going to be a big hole in that secondary. And the question comes up is, how are we going to fill that hole? Is it going to be a free agent, or is it going to be a draft pick? And I'd love to find out from the 12th man Arrowhead Drive. You know what I'm saying? I want to know from everyone, like a poll. You know, I want to hear some comments down below whether you think it's going to be a draft pick or it's going to be from.
Let's pose that. We can pose that right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Question to the kingdom: filling the safety spot, do we do so in free agency or in the draft? Leave your comment down below. Let us know. If you want my input on that, Sean.
I think I know. I watch your episodes too, Kevin. I stay up to date with the Chiefs. And what I think you're about to say is that defensive end spot. Do you think that that's where our big free agency signing is going to be, that position, or not? Did I pick up that right?
Let me break it down to you here.
Okay.
First, I'll answer your question.
Okay.
Do we fill Tyrann Mathieu's spot through free agency or through the draft?
I want to know your opinion on that. Let's get to that. Yeah.
My answer: do we fill it through free agency or the draft?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes is my answer.
Yeah, either one would be good, obviously.
Both.
Yeah.
Now,
that's good. Yeah. For the future Mathieu, and a veteran.
So, Tyrann Mathieu is, I mean, he's a great football player, and I don't think you're going to replace everything he did for this team with a single individual. Okay, the Chiefs like to run 3 safety sets a lot. Okay, so let's really look at what we're losing. Okay, we're losing Mathieu, and we're losing Sorensen. Okay, obviously one we don't care that we're losing. The other one, kind of sucks that we're losing him. But put those 2 people together, we can bring in 2 people that equal out to the same value that those 2 equaled together on the field. So Mathieu is basically replaced by bringing in somebody that is much better than Sorensen and close enough to Mathieu to equal out to that productivity.
I see what you're doing. 2 guys at 1.
1.5. We'll give Sorensen a half. Okay. He physically, I mean, he was kind of there, so we'll give him a half. 2 people equal 1.5.
He was a body.
But to your point, defensive end, yes, and yes as well. So
I agree, because we lost 2 of them. We're gonna probably lose 2 of them. We lost 1.
So if you've watched my episodes, and I beg, please do not replace Frank Clark with Frank Clark. I don't care if he restructures. I don't care if the cost is reduced. You are not improving your football team by replacing Frank Clark with Frank Clark. Now, Sean, I think we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Frank Clark, we replace him. I have came to a new thought process, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Chiefs Kingdom, myself included, I believe yourself included, have been on the train of, well, we should definitely bring Ingram back, though he was a great spark plug for the team. Am I right? Like, my thought process is changing as I started to kind of come to a realization.
To where we just appreciated it.
We appreciated him because of how much we unappreciate Frank Clark.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. If you look and on your board here, you say, well, right here is a really good defensive end. Frank Clark comes in here in all of our like opinions. That may not be that bad, but that's how we perceive it. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think what happened is Ingram came in, and Ingram was here. He's still not what we necessarily need, but he's better than what we had, and we're all just looking at that and we're like, ooh, shiny.
You're absolutely right.
Right? So I think if
the expectations were different. We expected more of Clark more than we did Ingram.
So I think we hit free agency. We try to sign a big time defensive end free agent. We go in the draft. We try to draft a high end free agent. Now, neither one of those things are guaranteed, right? Players have the choice to sign here or not. The draft, we don't know who's going to fall to us. Where's the value going to be? So, like, nothing's guaranteed, but that's obviously the route that we want to go. But then you look after the draft, and you have another wave of free agency that happens. And I've already told you, as far as Ingram goes, this is going to drag out anyway. He's not going to sign until like June or July. So he's part of that last wave anyway. So if we're not sitting where we want to be sitting with the defensive ends, he's kind of like a fallback option.
Hey, let's catch up with, I know maybe a few of you didn't see Kevin's last episode, but it also entails that when I ask this question, how hot are the defensive ends in the first round of the draft? Because that might answer our question whether or not we go with a draft pick or free agency. If you tell me that it's deep in that pool for defensive ends early, whether it be the first or second round.
Okay, so on my last episode, I talked about 3 specific players as that I have projected in the first round at defensive end. That is players that I project to potentially be available at number 30. I'm not including some of the defensive ends that are like almost locks to be gone before it ever gets to us. So we're probably looking at a solid 6 defensive ends coming off the board at some point in the first round. And I think 2 of them, it's possible 2 of them fall to us. It's also possible all 6 of them are gone by the time it gets to us. You know what I mean? Like, it's so hard because we don't have a quarterback heavy draft. Most years you're like, well, there's going to be these 4 or 5 quarterbacks guaranteed to go in the first round, which pushes all these other players down the board to later in the draft. We don't have that this year. So it could be that defensive end is the new quarterback.
I'm telling you, it is a huge spot on the defensive side of the field, because we talk about the secondary and whatnot, but we all come down to how much time the quarterback has the ball, and he doesn't have the ball that long if you have a great defensive line that gets to the quarterback and they don't have to cover the receivers that long. So yes, defensive end, I can see it being a big want for these other teams, but I really hope that it doesn't come through in this first round, and some really good guy just slips down to us in that 30th spot. But hey, we'll get to that later, and I'm sure you will, on who is going to be the first pick that the Chiefs make. Is it what position it's going to be? You know, that's so intriguing when we come down to it.
It's coming because it's a weird year to try to predict, because we talk about defensive ends. I say it's the biggest need. Usually they're like, well, that's guaranteed to be our first pick then, right? But I have 2 or 3 second rounders that are defensive ends that we could pick that I think are starters. There's another like 6 in the 3rd round that I'm okay with us taking being starters. 4th round, I have one. There's like 4 in the 5th round. Like, it's so deep at defensive end. Like, you guys will see my predictions.
Yeah.
Defensive end is definitely our biggest need, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that we have to go there in the first round because of the depth. But I'll keep you guys up. I'll let you guys know. Trust me, you will get a full-on prediction from me of who I think we're going to take and who other options are that I also considered with that pick. So I don't like to do mock drafts and just say, oh, I took this guy. I also want to let you know, hey, I took this guy, but I was considering this guy, and this guy. So if you guys are in the mindset of defensive end isn't the biggest need, it's safety. Well, let's say I did take defensive end. You're like, man, I wonder what safety. I'm going to let you know. Hey, I also thought about this safety. I thought about this corner. I thought about this linebacker. I thought
Yeah.
about this receiver. So I will give you those other options that I considered when I give you those mock drafts, and those are coming very soon. I'll be honest, guys. I try to work smarter, not harder. And trying to do a mock draft right now to me is very silly because as soon as free agency hits, people get signed. It changes the needs of so many teams that the entire mock draft gets flipped upside down. Everything you thought you knew, you now know nothing. So once we get to this first wave of free agency, the first 4 or 5 days of free agency, I will start hitting you with those mock drafts. Sean, I'll have you on to join me. We'll do a mock draft together where we can kind of look at it and I can let you know some of the options and what I think about the guys.
Yeah,
you can just help me make that pick.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait. I'd like to hear everyone's input on this, whether it be what position we draft first or who they think that if they really want to pay attention to the draft. The thing about it is kind of unpredictable to the point. Mel Kiper would know, but it's unpredictable to the point to where it's so you just want to almost trade up because you really want this guy, and you just can't have. You have all this anticipation. You just don't think that this guy's going to slip down to you, and that's how they felt with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And what I'm trying to say is there's some key positions that aren't supposed to slide down that far. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire was in one of those positions to where he
slid right to us.
He slid right to us, and we're like, he's one of the top tier running backs. We should get, and we did. We kind of jumped on this, and that's the kind of position we're at now with this 30th pick. And do we do that same thing and hold back and just see who slips to us and hold that anticipation, or do we pull the trigger? If you ask me, I think that we do the same. We just see who slips down to us instead of going up, trading up, or falling back. If we do, I see us more falling back than trading up.
Yeah, I've talked with you. I don't know if it was on the air or not, but I've talked to you about what I would do if I'm Veach and what I think really seriously could play out. So Veach has never been a guy to trade back in the draft. No. He's aggressive, right? He trades up. But sitting with that 30th pick, the second round has so much talent in it that trading back into the early part of the second round, I feel like wouldn't really hamper us. We can add another pick later in the draft, and then Veach can use those extra picks and our later picks to package together to come back up for another guy in the middle of the draft as well, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of options, but keep your eye on the Houston Texans. Davis Mills is currently their starting quarterback. I think they would love to get up to the number 30 spot where the Chiefs draft, because they're going to want to go make sure they're ahead of the Lions that draft 32, because the Lions could easily replace Goff. So I can see the Texans wanting to get up to that 30 spot, get a quarterback in the first round. That way they get that fifth-year option. So I am going to give you guys a little prediction here if I haven't done this yet. I don't like to include trades really in my mock drafts. I like to go off what we have for our picks. But I do want to give you my prediction of we're going to sit there for 3 or 4 hours, watch the first round of the NFL draft. We're going to get to pick number 30, and it is going to be announced that the Chiefs have traded back to pick number, I believe it's 36 or 37, with the Houston Texans. And the Texans throw in like a 4th and a 7th round pick as well. The Texans draft Cincinnati quarterback Desmond Ridder with the 30th overall pick. So that is my early prediction.
That's a good prediction. I like it. But is that the best that they can do to get a quarterback? Because I can't think of another team in the NFL that needs a quarterback more than them. More than the Miami Dolphins, even though they hate Tua Tagovailoa, however you say his name. He's not a bad quarterback.
Seattle could use one.
Yeah. Geno Smith is like, come on, guys, I can do it.
Hey, I don't know, man. He's got to compete with Drew Lock.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in practice and what they call it, training camp, whatever. But look, also you got the Saints, who's in that same predicament. And you do have a few teams, but you also had the Redskins and Heineke. He's a
The
fast
who?
Heineke.
No. What team?
Yeah, he's irrelevant now. Taylor
No.
Heineke.
The Washington what?
Did I say the Redskins? I meant the Senators. I'm sorry.
The who?
I wonder how many times I'm going to call them the Cleveland Indians.
It's the Commanders.
What I call them, Senators. They was thinking about calling them the Senators. Like now it's the Commanders. I'm going to need some time on this.
Do what I do. Just call them Washington.
Can I still call them the football team? They're still a football team?
They are a football team. They are not the football team, though.
They don't deserve to be called the football team.
They are Washington.
But they got Carson Wentz now, and so how good do you think they feel now? Do you think they're a playoff team now?
I think they're better. Like I know Wentz gets a lot of hate,
A little bit,
but realistically, who has Wentz ever had to throw to?
T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, a washed up T.Y. Like, not saying he's completely washed, but he is not what he once was.
No.
Who did he have to throw to?
That's a good point. He didn't have anybody to throw to in the Colts game.
Who did he have to throw to with the Eagles?
That last Colts game was horrible.
Dude, who did he have with the Eagles outside of Zach Ertz?
They're still in that scenario to where they got Smith over there, and that besides him, they never had anything to look forward to.
He wasn't there when Carson was there.
No.
So, what quarterback does Wentz suck?
Hey, I tell you what, you've got a good point there to where maybe he's got some more to showcase, and he's got his chance now, but. I tell you what, it's on one of those small tier teams. Like, this is your last chance, Wentz. If you don't get it right, Heineke's going to take over. Heineke is going to take over and just blow you away like a sneeze. So
he does have a legit receiver in Washington.
That was a horrible analogy. It felt like an allergy. Allergy analogy was horrible.
He's got Scary Terry. He's got Terry McLaurin. I think McLaurin is a top 15.
I love the
wide
guy.
receiver in this game.
Yeah, I love the guy. He's begging for he's begging for a quarterback. So he's probably happy, like you said, with just a little step higher. He's happy, just a little bit happier.
We'll see what happens. Curious to see what Indy does now.
Yeah, I'm also
Indy, Seattle. Do they go free agency? Do they trade for somebody? Are they just looking draft? Like, it'd be interesting to see what some of these quarterback needy teams do now.
Yeah, and to end this little quarterback needy team stuff, there may be a couple more that we didn't mention, whatever, but they're on the middle. But one of them has been since Peyton Manning, right? And they got Russell Wilson. So I remember you asking me, and I said I picked the middle. I said I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he's going to be bad or whatever, but I do think he's going to be maybe the third best quarterback in the AFC.
You said him and Herbert are tied. You straddled the fence.
He moved. Yeah, they're tied. But when I think about progression, okay, this next year they're tied. And I want to see if they could break that tie. But when I think about the progression side to it, it looks bad in about 3 years. So how long? Here's my question. How long does Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos playoff window last? How long does it last?
Honest answer?
Yes.
As long as they have a top 10 defense. If they can keep up on having a top 10 defense, Russell Wilson is able to get them into the playoffs. He's plenty capable of taking a team with a really good defense and getting them to the playoffs.
And the Broncos have been known to have a decent defense. That's like their like the Bears.
It's their calling card.
Yeah, it's their calling card.
So I mean, that's my answer. None of it weighs directly on Russell Wilson to me. I think he's With a good defense, he could take any team and get them there to the
And
playoffs.
you know what the Chiefs' calling card is? I swear to you, they can never get this right to where they have an awesome offense and an awesome defense in the same year. It's either one or
In
the
the
other.
same decade.
Jeez.
Tell me what decade they've had a good defense at some point, a really good defense in that decade. And even if it was 9 years later, same decade, had a really good offense.
Yeah.
I can't name a decade.
Yeah. Well, we can make it happen if we have a solid quarterback. We finally have one. Let's take advantage of this, build around him, and then one of these years, we're going to continue our dynasty, whether it be next year or that next year or the next year. We're going to continue this to where we finally got that good defense, like one of those top 3 defenses, run the league. And we still have Mahomes, and we gave him a few weapons, and it just clicks, and we run the league again. I see it happening. So our stock, our Chiefs stock, it might have went down a little bit, but hey, just like the Bills, hey, we're looking up. We're looking up, and the Bills are looking up. They're antsy. They are antsy.
So this upcoming season, Sean, Chiefs getting back to an AFC Championship game again for the 5th time.
That'd be
yes
awesome.
or no? Yes or no? Do you think it happens? Yes or no?
You know what? I think that it is all up to the Bills. I mentioned them just a second ago, and they won it. And they feel like if they had it at home, it's probably going to be snowing, and they're going to have that home field advantage. And so this next year, that's what's going to be on their mind, is getting that number 1 seed. So it all depends on them. I'm not really worried about Mac Jones, and I'm not worried about the Bungles, okay? I think the Bungles are actually going to hurt next season if they don't fix protecting Joe Burrow.
I agree.
Fix that, they're not. He's going to be exposed. It's just going to be a huge hole in their offense.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time. So
Yeah.
you think you're not like stamping a guarantee on it, but you think there's a good chance the Chiefs can get back to the AFC Championship.
Well, I would give it at about a 65% chance, and I was going to say 70 or so, it lowers 5% because Russell Wilson just moved over to AFC.
Would you be willing to?
Another question would be: do we win the AFC West for another consecutive year? But that answer is more of an 85% yes.
So the Chiefs winning the AFC West, you would be willing to Calvin Ridley that?
Yeah.
You'd put money down on that one?
I'd put $1,500 on that. But please don't let my penalty be a whole year's worth of salary. I mean, geez.
Dude, the AFC West is nuts, though. I mean,
yeah.
Really, Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the division. That's pretty nuts because Carr's a good quarterback. Argue Herbert or Wilson is the 3rd worst quarterback in your division. Whichever order you want to put them in, they're the 3rd worst in the division. Dude, that's insane. I don't remember seeing a division that had 4 quarterbacks of the caliber that the AFC West has right now.
Yeah, and then also if you look at it at a big perspective, the AFC itself has better quarterbacks than the whole NFC. The NFC doesn't look too compelling when it comes to the quarterback position as it does with the AFC.
Well, you look at it, I'd say just off the top of my head, maybe the number 4 or 5 quarterback in the NFC just came over to the AFC and is probably the 7th or 8th best in the AFC, just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So all the bad quarterbacks are just all going to keep sliding over to the NFC. The good ones will come to the AFC. So so which NFC team is Baker Mayfield going to go to next year then?
Wherever he wants to retire. That's the retirement league right there, is the NFC. That's the old. For the old.
Fair enough.
Yeah, here's the lighter side of the episode. They said Mitchell Trubisky's stock is going up. I'm like,
Th-
how?
Yeah, the Giants are interested.
Is that why? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
There's another one of those teams that we failed to mention that really need a quarterback. Gosh, there sure is a few of them. So, guess what? I think that they're just going to try to eat up as many quarterbacks as they can, and maybe that'll leave some defensive ends for us.
there's just not enough high-end quarterbacks in the
No,
draft, man.
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
No,
Not
I
enough for them
mean,
to eat up.
I think 3 go in the first round. I
Three.
think I think one really warrants it. There's
Okay.
one that I think, like, yeah, legit, his upside of Malik Willis from Liberty, like, he warrants being a first round pick. And then it's just going to be, there's going to be a couple teams that are desperate for quarterback, and they're going to be like, hey, this guy's good enough. So they're going to take him in the first round. So I think 3 go. Now, I think the fourth one to go would be Desmond Ridder when Houston trades up with Kansas City to pick
Okay.
him. There is your fourth quarterback taken in the
Yeah.
first round.
Yep. There we go. Hey, you better stick with that, and we're gonna see if it happens. It's coming up soon. I love to see the 40-yard dashes with these combines. I got to see some with the defensive backs and whatnot. A lot of them got 4 flat. I saw one of them
Yeah.
get 3.9, but yeah, there's some speed in there. A lot of them were former wide receivers, and so
Yeah.
you'll find them tall, lanky guys who are now cornerbacks, which might be a revolution in the NFL to where they can match with the receivers better, because that's what the Chiefs have kind of been asking for, is because the Chiefs have always got these short cornerbacks for some reason, and it's stemmed. I don't want to say stemmed. Well, yeah, sure, it stemmed from Mark McMillan, the Mighty Mouse, and it
Mighty Mouse,
stemmed
yeah.
from him. But we need to get taller at the cornerback
We
position,
are. We are.
and I
You
hope
look at, like,
I hope
Fenton's not a little guy. Snead's not a little guy. We had Ward. Ward wasn't a little guy. That's where our defensive back room kind of is trending to. So I think you'll continue to see those 6 feet and taller
good,
cornerbacks on
good.
the Chiefs. I think with our current setup, our current coaching staff and everything, like, they covet the bigger, stronger wide receivers. We run a really weird thing with our cornerbacks where, like, we we set up in, like, a press man, but we never actually press. It's just a close to the line of scrimmage man, which it's odd. I wish they would let them get more physical, but it's a scheme and coaching thing where they don't have them
Sure,
actually, like, bump and run. But we
sure.
definitely like those bigger guys, so it'll definitely be interesting. See if we start to put in some actual capital towards the corner position, or if we just go safety, like I know you've kind of wanted, or my side,
Yeah.
and let's go defensive end. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, no doubt about it. Definitely look forward to it. We'll continue talking on it. We'll get together and do some mock drafts as well. But again, my name's Kevin Britton, host of the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive. Tune in every Sunday and Wednesday for all your Chiefs content here on Stadium Drive Sports. Once again, Sean, let them know.
Hey, baseball is not dead. It's gonna be resurrected. It will be here. They're gonna get rid of maybe April, but we'll be right back. I promise. Don't give up, and I won't give up. Catch me Monday, every Monday, and then when the season starts, you can catch me every Monday and Thursday right here on Stadium Drive Sports on YouTube. On YouTube, just Google it, YouTube it, Stadium Drive Sports. You're going to catch either the Combo Show, Arrowhead Drive, 12th Minute Arrowhead Drive, or the Royal Way. So, hey, have it your way.
Tell you what, guys, make your life really easy. Go ahead and just subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss our new episodes as they come out. And click that like button. Let us know that you guys enjoy the content we're doing. That'll also help push this out to other Chiefs fans, other Royals fans as well. But again, I'm Kevin. He's Sean. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time.